Hello everybody, APT Clear, and I'd like to welcome you all to my very first YouTube video. And today I want to take a look at Star Wars Battlefront. I've been having a great time ranking up and just playing the game in general. However, there was one glaring issue that always seems to stand out to me. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, but I'll give you a little hint if you don't understand. If you didn't get it before, I'm sure you get it now. The homing shot. Today I'd like to analyze it and figure out why people think it's overpowered, try to make a judgment call on if it's overpowered, in what circumstances does it actually benefit the game, and discuss some potential solutions to make it more acceptable to the community. First off, is the homing shot overpowered? The homing shot, if you haven't unlocked it yet, is a rocket launcher that is infantry specialized. It's like the ion shot in that it locks onto a target, launches a tracking rocket at that target, but instead of vehicles, the homing shot locks onto infantry. It is also a one-hit kill on any infantry, besides heroes, but we'll get to that later. The homing shot takes about 1.5 seconds to lock onto a target, and then you can fire. Physically putting an object between you and the person trying to lock onto you with the homing shot will break the lock, and if they already have locked onto you and sent a missile, it will fly straight towards you. However, if you manage to get behind cover, you can hide from the missile. As I mentioned, it flies straight towards its target, and the person who is getting locked onto is notified of which direction the missile is coming at them from. So if you can put an object between you and the missile will hit the object and you'll be fine. So we have a one-shot kill missile launcher that locks onto anyone and technically has infinite ammo because star cards can be used as many times as you want. It's pretty easy to see why people think it's overpowered, but it really only performs very well in certain circumstances. I found that it performed the best on the larger game modes because it is less easy for targets to hide behind cover. The exception to this is indoor. The abundance of trees in indoor make it easy for targets to hide and break locks. On close quarter maps, the missile takes too long to lock and your target can shoot you before you are even ready to fire. However, even on Solace, Tatooine, and Hoth, the homing shot only has exclusive areas in which it excels. I believe it is because it does so well in these few situations that the launcher has gained its negative reputation. For example, on all of Walker, Assault, Hoth, and Solace, the battlefield is a big open plain that leaves little room to hide, especially on Hoth. Tatooine isn't as flat, and Endor, as I mentioned earlier, has tons of trees to block the homing shot. It's in those open zones like Walker, Assault, Hoth, and Solace where the enemy has nowhere to hide. Imperials with the homing shot can simply line up 4 or 5 players with the Star Guard and completely bar rebels from approaching the Y-Wing uplink station. In these circumstances, the homing shot is most definitely overpowered, as completely incapacitating the other team takes no skill other than putting your crosshairs on the enemy. The weapon is simply too good at what it does. In addition to this, the squad shield does not block the homing shot. A quick pickup that is supposed to provide cover for you and your teammates simply turns you into fish in a barrel for the homing shot. Now that we've bashed the weapon enough, let's focus in on what circumstances it does benefit the game. In my experience, it's a nice way to take down heroes who are on long kill streaks. Boba Fett is an extremely good hero, and he can be hard to hit with an ordinary blaster. However, the homing shot locks onto him easily, even when he is in the air using his jetpack. The heroes who can block blaster fire, such as Darth Vader and Luke, are still susceptible. The homing shot still damages them. In this way, I think the homing shot is a good way to balance the hero's lack of time depleting health when you simply can't damage them with your blaster. The homing shot doesn't melt heroes, so they are still powerful, and they usually die anyway after hitting Luke with one rocket. Also, we have to acknowledge that Star Wars Battlefront has attracted a wider range of players than your average first-person shooter. The homing shot is an easy way for inexperienced players to gain a quick kill if they aren't good at aiming. So after analyzing both the good and the bad of the homing shot, we can determine that it is overpowered and unparalleled in open territory, but it does have its place for players struggling with the first-person shooter aspect, and it is good at managing runaway heroes. And in my mind, the homing shot needs a couple of adjustments. First off, the 18-second cooldown needs to be increased. The homing shot is good at zone control because you can have it up fast, especially if there are multiple players running it. With this being an increased cooldown time of maybe 25 seconds, up from the 18 seconds it has now, would force players using the homing shot to have to rely on their blaster fire more to control areas where their homing shot is on cooldown. This would prevent spam. However, it would still let new players trying to get a kill get their kill. Another change that I think would benefit the game is a slightly longer lock-on time for the homing shot. This would force players using the homing shot to not be able to whip it out, lock onto a target, and fire without much foresight. It would make players track their targets for longer and physically commit by putting line of sight between them and their target. If they can hold that line of sight and not die, they will likely be rewarded by the imminent kill. If not, they are probably using on a map they shouldn't. One buff I think the homing shot needs is a faster travel speed for the rocket itself. This would make the commitment of holding line of sight between the player and their target be more worth it. It would also make the weapon feel more consistent and harder to run away from, especially as it has a longer cooldown. However, all of that is what I think, and it may or may not be true. But one thing that is true is that the homing shot needs some changes. Let me know what you guys think about down in the comments, and if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, this was APT Clear.